Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous. And here's her story. Hey, Ollie, you made a video for me a few months back. Don't live as a dry drunk because of the narcissist, and it really did help me. So thank you for your honesty and calling it out for what it was. I didn't realize I was in a dry drunk phase. I knew exactly what to do to get back on my feet after watching your response. I'm glad to report that I'm in a much better place emotionally and mentally these days. These are the changes that I made. And for those of you who don't know like what a dry drunk is somebody who used to be an alcoholic or is an alcoholic, no longer drinks, but is still acting as if they do. You know, so that's what's known as a dry drunk. The roommate is gone. And at the suggestion of my sponsor, I also made a promise to myself that I will not move anyone else in here for at least 6 months. I also made a commitment to myself to spend that time, space, and energy on self-care. Let me ask you this. If you can last 6 months without a roommate, why have somebody move in at all? See, what I would do is I would take the alone. I think a lot of times what we do when we go no contact or when we remove ourselves from the situation, you know, we do it with the intention of somehow bringing the problem back in, as if all the problem needed was time, and that's not it. The solution is removing it, okay, whatever it is. Now, in your case, if you could live 6 months without a roommate, why bring somebody in after that? It's almost like you're kind of dooming yourself to failure right there. I also made a commitment to myself to spend that time, space, and energy on self-care. I realize now that I was moving people in with me to repeat the pattern of rescuing. Number one, I was programmed that rescuing is a function in life. And number two, rescuing others is a great distraction from attending to my own needs. And, you know, this comes at a perfect time because, honestly, I was trying to figure out a way to make this video with this point. And I'm glad you sent this in, honestly, because I just made this point with somebody yesterday, and this has been repeating itself over and over and over again. When you are abused by narcissism, when you're a victim of these cluster B personalities, we keep bringing these personalities into our lives. You keep looking for them, and a lot of times when you what a lot of you do, and I'm seeing it firsthand here, is you will cut off your main narcissist and then go immediately running towards another one, just looking. Give you an example. I have had in the past 2 weeks at least off the top of my head, 9 of you send me emails trying to get in contact with each other because of, you know, disconnected. I want to help this. I want to help. And this is a community where, you know, we're here to support each other. And this is where I get into when I say I don't understand how people can just spend all day or watch every video and every second of my content because it gets dark. And what I'm seeing is that even though when people cut off and go no contact, they then start to search out for the same thing again under the guise of rescuing, whether it be animals or now people. And it's weird. You guys connect. The people who have been abused in similar ways like this, you will then ask for the other person's information and vice versa. And I've been telling you guys behind the scenes, this is not a good idea. This is not a good idea, because I could see what's happening, because I know the people who write to me better than you guys who are interacting within the comments and don't know each other. Like, I can see things, I know different things, different intimate things that aren't necessarily shared out in public, and it's been concerning. And what you're calling out is rescuing others as a distraction from attending to my own needs. And I said this to somebody yesterday, okay? Why do you keep running towards chaos? The same chaos that you were trying to go no contact from in the first place. And I've asked several people, do you have any friends outside of at this point, any other outside relationships outside of narcissism recovery? No. You're still going to be swimming in the same pond. Not that we're not here to share, to support each other and share experiences. We are. But again, when you're kicking it up to give this one my email, I want to help like that one, and it's never ended well. It always ends in disaster. And there's people that I have warned in the past, like in the comments. Sometimes, like, normally I'll set up the sponsorships. Like, somebody sponsors, I'll try to match it with something deserving. When people try to sponsor somebody in from what they're reading in the comments, it always blows up. I think of a couple, only like one or two that where it's worked out. Gerard's being one of them. Brianna's another. Some of the others have turned into unmitigated disasters where the sponsor person ends up blocking the person who they sponsor. And I warn them, I'm like, look, I'm seeing red flags here. Okay, and that's part of the thing where I do the sponsor, like where I'm picking a sponsor. Like, there are immediate red flags that I see. Like, it just screams when people are doing the sponsorship thing, and look like that. I don't call out, and it's just things that I need to do to run the channel. And I warn people, like on the sponsors, like, okay, but I'm letting you know there's already, I wish you didn't, but I'm letting you know there's already red flags. And I haven't, because I read these things cold, and I've never been wrong. And I've had people like, oh my God, I've had to block this person. Oh my God, I should have listened. But what this is all coming from is this need to run to the same chaos you just went no contact from under the guise of rescuing it. Okay? It's like, you keep fucking with it. Stop fucking with it. That's what it is. It's like, you keep is this real? It's like, you won't believe that this narcissistic abuse is real and how this works. And you gotta keep fucking with it. Stop fucking with it. Stop. Stop bringing people into your apartment. Stop looking for rescues. Rescue yourself. I am not initiating contact with my parents. My mother has made attempts to contact me the past few weeks. There was some stalking behavior going on with fake Facebook accounts and coming to my house uninvited. I did not reply to calls or texts, but when she took to leaving messages at my former job saying there was a family emergency, I responded to tell her to stop. She didn't know I had left that job and doesn't know where I work now, but the messages were passed on to me. No boundaries whatsoever. Anyway, I told her again that I am healing from my childhood, and being in contact with her triggers abandonment and anxiety issues. I left it at that, and she stopped. I don't think she stopped because she cares about my well-being. Most likely she stopped because of my directness and my determination to stay focused on the truth. Expressed to her that she is not to get the type of supply that she wants from me. I know what she wants. She wants the nurturing stuff. She wants for me to be her mommy. She probably figures she can try again later. Also, Mother's Day coming up probably has something to do with the push to try to contact me. But in the spirit of the latest Game of Thrones episode, not today. Okay? I don't watch... I've never, ever seen an episode of Game of Thrones. I, like, put it on once. I watched it for, like, 30 seconds. I'm like, wow. Like, I hate that whole era of history. And, like, it does nothing for me. To me, I look at it and I'm like, everybody needs a fucking shower. Everybody needs a shower. And it's just gross. And the whole place just looks like it stinks. So, it's like, I just never watched Game of Thrones. But I think it was your directness here that shut her down, because they're not ready for it. So that's probably what shut her down in the short term. And right there, the not today mind frame is my purpose in submitting this to you. In a recent video, there was a fellow abuse survivor who was suicidal, and my heart goes out to them. It goes out to every one of us when we feel that way. I'm sure many, if not all of us, at some point feel that way. The thoughts of giving up were tempting for me as well. There were times I felt so empty with no one around, no one who chooses to love me. I remember once, years ago, I took a break from my family. It wasn't a mindful attempt at no contact, as I didn't know what narcissism was back then. I just avoided them because I was exhausted by their needs. When I finally reached back out, they decided to return the silent treatment. During that period, I remember feeling so rejected and alone. I just went numb and decided to stop engaging. I remember one day specifically thinking to myself that I literally only spoke 10 words out loud the entire day. I remember another evening I took a bath at my sponsor's suggestion to help comfort me physically. While I was in the bathtub, I sunk down a bit and just enjoyed the feel of warm water in my hair. In that moment, I heard my own heartbeat. I started to cry because hearing my own heartbeat was so loud and clear. Felt so contradictory to the dead feeling inside. I think I was relieved because hearing my heartbeat was evidence I was alive and that I was not a ghost. Today, I'm not a ghost and more than just a heartbeat. Today, I say fuck you to everyone and everything that ever told me I was worthless, stupid, fat, lazy, useless, not good enough, or any of the bullshit words used to push me down. Today, I have fight in me. I have a right to live, damn it. I have a right to try to enjoy this life. I choose to believe that life does not have to be that damn hard. I learned from your channel that I tend to believe that life is hard because I got so used to the way my mom made everything hard. A trip to the damn grocery store was a horrid event, for goodness sake. If she couldn't find her keys to leave the house, I had to help her find it. If she lost the list or left it at home, I had to remember what was on it. If she lost her money or dropped her wallet, I had to find it. If the prices were not what she expected, she argued with the clerk and I would be so embarrassed. Jesus, this is like living with my mother. I could go on and on, but my point is, life without them is really not that hard. I try to catch myself. I try to pay attention to when I'm listening to the mom voice running through my head. So let's think about that. Think about what you're saying here, and it's because it's true. You realize life without them is not that hard. Yet, you keep running back to the chaos by bringing people in. By bringing these rescues in. You keep fucking with it. You keep poking it, you keep fucking with it. When I hear it, I have to tell it to shut the fuck up, and then I choose to think my own thoughts. Thoughts like that I'm not my mother. She is not here, and I have a right to have a peaceful experience in whatever I'm doing, whether it's grocery shopping or doing whatever it is I need to be responsible for. I realize now that the grocery store isn't so bad. I just have to understand I have different needs. That's all. I have to do things in a way that that make me comfortable and are enjoyable. I'll give you an example for me personally. Vacuuming. I used to, because my mother, they had this fucking tank Kenmore of a vacuum. We used to call it the tank. It was this blue thing, and it was huge. It had this, it wasn't an upright. It was like this thing with the attachment, and it weighed like 40 pounds. It was fucking brutal. It was brutal. I think I've talked about it in the earlier videos. And my mother would make me, that was my job, to vacuum the whole house. And that was a pain in the ass because you had stairs and you had this thing, and I'm a kid. And it just made me, it was difficulty for no reason. Because upstairs there was the old upright, the old upright Hoover that worked like a charm. And she wouldn't let me use that goddamn upright Hoover. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous, this fucking thing. And now I'm at the point where, like, I just used an upright vacuum in my adulthood, and I actually enjoy vacuuming. It's like one of the things that calms me, it relaxes me. So, you know, they do things, they make things purposely difficult because they're trying to make your life difficult. That's their whole point. The narcissist is trying to make your life difficult. That's what they want to do. I go early in the morning or late at night when not many people are there. There's no rushing, chaos, or screaming kids, or worse, screaming moms. I can take my time, and sometimes I don't even make a stupid list. I walk around asking myself, what do I like? I am learning to get to know myself by trying different things. I do things to be kind and comforting to myself. I bought a pregnancy pillow and a weighted blanket to help me sleep, and it's working like a charm. It's a journey understanding that I was programmed not to love. Not to love myself really helps me want to fight for the opposite of that negative. I choose to reprogram myself to love myself. Your channel has been instrumental in that reprogramming. I can totally understand why you would want to retire from this work. You've contributed so much already. You have years of content that will always be helpful. I would like to petition you, however, if you don't mind me doing so. I would suggest that the past content remain available as possible. Yeah, my content will remain up as long as YouTube allows it to be up. I don't delete videos. I don't, unless somebody begs me to do it. I mean, but I don't just arbitrarily. My videos will be there for as long as YouTube allows them to be there. I hope that it continues to help others. You asked how some of us can watch these videos as it's taxing. I'm totally guilty. There are times I spend hours watching, right? And then you end up looking for somebody to rescue. That's the problem. Not that I don't appreciate the support. I absolutely do. But, you know, this term grifter gets thrown around a lot. You know, a lot. Whether it's me personally or around social media and the right, or anybody who makes money online. Okay? Like, I don't push that type of stuff. Like, my content is always going to be available free online for as long as I can do that. You know, the contributions are if you want your story personally read on the channel, but any video I make is free for anybody to watch. You know, my concern is like now, if I was grifting, my thing would be to get you to keep watching my videos all day, every day. And like, I would never tell, like, I can't understand how you guys sit there and watch for hours and hours and hours and hours. Because I really do care about ending this societal narcissism and exposing it. You know, it's nice that, you know, this was just a way, it started out for me, a way to vent, and it turned into this as a way to support us. And I appreciate it. But again, you know, it's dark. You know, it's definitely a double-edged sword. For me and you guys. I mean, I know a lot of you appreciate what I do and you find it interesting and helpful. But again, there's so many of you who spend so much time on the channel that you go running to the same chaos you're trying to get away from. That's my concern. I can get obsessive, yes, and it's taxing mentally and emotionally. Yes, it is. But for me, it's also a great tool to affirm that this unique psychological abuse does exist. There's a name for it, and it happens to others too. That is what the narcissist wants us to believe, isn't it? That we're making it up and that nobody cares. Lies, lies, lies. We do matter and people do care. I read every comment from the Dry Drunk video, and all of it helped me. So thank you to those who left comments there. As much as I watched your channel, I also chose to balance that out with fun activities like riding my bike, painting, or playing video games. These are all things I can do solo to entertain and enjoy myself. I have decided that I am worth living for. Period. End of story. My nieces and nephews are not my kids, and they are not my responsibility or my purpose. Good for coming to that, accepting that realization. Too many of you, like I've said, there's too many of you like, oh, I got these nieces and nephews and I can't just walk away. You're not their parents. Nieces and nephews are not your children, and you do not sabotage your own life for nieces and nephews that are going to be turned against you eventually anyway. I have already spent a lifetime taking care of others, and I'm done. The only person I want to take care of now is me. I am sorry for them and what they are experiencing, but I will be there when and if they want true help. Until then, I won't allow their parents to wedge their way into my world using those kids. I will show my nieces and nephews by example how to love oneself and take care of oneself. That's how I can help them. I stopped hiding my marijuana usage from my sponsors, employers, and the 3 friends in my life. I'm getting a medical card soon so I don't feel like an addict going to the dope man. I also realize that sativa vape works best for me and that I have to be careful not to over-medicate because that can trigger depression. Another thing I learned from your channel is that the way I talk to myself as a kid and fantasized this coping mechanism developed as a result of neglect and abandonment. I still do it sometimes and learn not to feel ashamed for it. Thank you for that. I remember being afraid to ask for counseling because I thought maybe I was schizophrenic or something beyond my control. I was afraid I would get suited with a straitjacket if I told them that. I can laugh at that now, but it was a relief to know again that I'm not alone. I am no longer afraid to open up at counseling sessions. I'm looking forward to Charlene's Corner. Sorry, I'm still fighting off a cold. I am looking forward to Charlene's Corner, as her last video really helped me well. I was having a shitty day that day and watched it, and that bit on smiling and breathing was just what I needed. Thank you for the work you both do. To all the survivors and watching and listening out there, keep fighting the good fight. You're worth it. Yes, it is work, but it doesn't have to be hard work, and most importantly, you are worth doing it. And the narcissist wants to make your life hard. That's the whole point. They're trying to make your life hard, and it doesn't have to be. And in your case and so many others, you keep, because your life is hard, and once you get, and what I think is happening is, once you get the narcissist out of you, you break contact, and you feel like, wow, this isn't so hard, so let me make it hard now on myself. And that's really what you're doing. You're making your life hard on yourself, again, by running towards the same chaos you just cut out of your life. Circular pattern. What good is cutting out one narcissist if you're just going to run towards the next under the guise of rescuing them, which you're not. All you're doing is preventing rescuing yourself. So I hope that helps. Thank you, Anonymous, for another contribution and story. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you want to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.